morning, Susan.
Good morning. How are you?
Hey. Good. I'm doing well. Thank the Lord. Gave us
Yes.
another day. We ready to pull the plug, but God said, no more. No, no, not ready. Not yet. Good morning, Kelsey.
Hey, good morning.
I relocated because normally I'm on another side of the house and I'm trying to eliminate the echo between Kelsey and I. So I'm in the living room. So Kelsey, if there's an echo, let me know and I'll go somewhere else.
No, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I noticed you relocated. You still have some sun, or well, the clouds is blocking the sun from coming in, but you still see something.
I'm always by a window. Always.
Oh, really?
Like it.
Good morning, Robin.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Fantastic. I'm good. I haven't had the hours hasn't passed me by yet to even think of what the day will bring. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone, to Spiritual Wellness Wednesday with Alicia, a spiritual booster, an enlightenment, delightful time together to honor God, to thank Him for the day, to encourage one another to get through the day, to learn from one another, and let it sink in our souls. I often hear my pastor say, write the words, the tablet of your heart. And sometimes we think that, well, when you want to learn something, you got to kind of keep studying and you just keep reading. And sometimes you think that you haven't learned it. You just need more to learn. But in reality, it does sink in. Whatever sinks in, and you have already been applying it to your life. It's just that you just have this piece of an awareness. And so why I'm saying that is because everything that we have learned so far here, it is changing us some way, somehow. It is transforming us. It is influencing us. For those that are here, in the panel and having that discussion, or for those that are watching, I am sure that the words and the teachings and the beautiful spirit you are experiencing through this platform, it is changing you already. It's making you think different. But I'm saying that I like to hear how is it moving you, right? And I think of how clouds move. This is the series of clouds, and there's a lot of connection to God, clouds, and even us. And sometimes we don't think that the clouds are moving, or you look at it, we know it moves because once we look, we're like, wait, it wasn't here. Or how did it change its form? How did that happen? And then it creates another form, and it keeps going and keeps going. But the way it moves is so subtle, right? It's like this. And that's how we are moving. Sometimes we want to move like this, but it just kind of settles. But we are changing. We are moving. So just based on what I just shared, Robin, and I call on Robin, have you noticed a change in you or a sudden movement like clouds?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I've noticed that I look at nature differently. especially how it's because nature is connected to God, but it's allowed me to focus more on how God is involved in nature. So I look at the clouds differently. I look at sunsets and sunrises differently. I look at water differently. I look at flowers differently. And I now, even though I haven't been able to make every single Wednesday, but the ones that I have attended, definitely compels me to look at nature differently, especially the clouds and the sun. And I love going to the park. I love going to the beach. So when I do those things, it just really, really helps me connect more with God. And, those classes that are not classes, but those Wednesdays that I have attended, it's definitely, had me to look at nature differently.
Mm-hmm.
Even as hot as it was this week, it
Oh,
really
Mom.
made me. Somebody posted something on Facebook, and it really makes I guess they did it in a joking way, but it's like, well, experiencing this heat makes me definitely not want to go to hell. So, it's and they said it in a joking way, but I don't know what kind of heat hell has, but it definitely makes me realize that heat can be intense. Heat can be
Mm-hmm.
intense. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but even in the heat, I'm a summer person, but this week was extremely intense. But
Ooh.
I see God in things, in more in nature. So
Mm.
that's it. I don't want to go on. I'm I'm rambling on.
No, no, no. Every word that you said, I think even I'm speaking for myself, but for everyone too, resonates with us. Yeah, I relate. I understand. It just makes you see things differently, and it also brings an awareness. And you kept saying, God is in nature. God is connecting you to God through that, and so that just shows like God is with us. God is with us, and that's what I get from what you said, and is a reminder of that through nature, through the things, the wonders, make you help you see sunrise differently, water differently. The other day, I think, it poured rain, and my natural tendency would be like, oh man, like, it's gonna cancel my plans. But I'm like, wait, no, that's God. That's the water from heaven down. That's still God. So immediately I changed my perspective in that weather and embraced it. You go from a negative perspective to something more delightful. It changes the game in our lives. Changes the games in our lives. And just to go further with that, last night when I came home, I turned on the TV, and usually I don't, but I was just playing with the controller, and then Despicable Me came on, part two. I'm like, okay, I'm being drawn to cartoons. So, and the guy, he started liking this girl. He just realized he has a crush on someone, and you see her walking down the park and the street, just so happy. He was so happy. He was dancing while he was walking. He started, picking up flowers. He gave it to a total stranger. He influenced a couple to meet together. He was just delighted. And I wonder in that moment, I'm like, look what he did just because he was happy. Look what he did. Look at the influence he had in the community. Look at how he embraced everything around him. And then that happiness didn't last, and then he found out his girl was moving away, and now he was sad again, and he didn't leave his room. But you see what happens when our mood is better. So Yeah, I thought about all of that, what you just said, Robin. So thank you. Good morning, Sylvia. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, look at you. You sound so up
Ah,
and
I
about.
am.
I like
I'm
that.
getting ready for the start of my day.
Beautiful. Then I bless your day. So let me call on Susan. Um, have you noticed yourself changing and becoming different just based on, just like clouds, just like kind of subtle and
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a change, especially recently, but I do think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, I am a teacher, so I'm off during the summer. So I'm really able to, I have the time to pay a lot more attention to the things that kind of matter to me. And if
Mhm.
anything, I've realized how important it is to make the time and not always be rushing, rushing, rushing. So I know that I've said this before. One of the things that I've realized this summer, especially like with doing this class, because I'm not able to do it during schools. So I have to come up with other ways going back. Like every morning when I wake up, I'm taking time to read the Bible and just reflect. So I have to come up with ways to do that. But the one thing that I have been noticing is stopping and looking at the clouds. And Kelsey and I talk about it a lot more. But it's so funny. Like if you think of the clouds and you look and think about weather too, like life is kind of like that. Like there
Mhm.
are times where it could be really clear and crisp and you feel good. And then it's like out of nowhere, like the other day, all of a sudden, like these storms come rolling in and you're like, whoa, like get inside, hide, cover. Like it's very funny when you just stop. And that's probably my English teacher and trying to put symbolism with everything. But that's just life. Like life is a lot like that. And when you have to hunker down during a storm, but it does pass. And again, the one thing that I always think about with the clouds, especially when it's stormy, is the sun is shining behind it. So it does
Mhm.
pass and it does move and it does go on, even though like when you're going through it, it could be scary, type of thing. But I have noticed this summer has allowed me the time to just really stop and reflect. And again, like Robin said, just go into nature and, catch a sunset. We still have to do a sunrise, but those are the things that are important. They kind of just rejuvenate your soul a little bit.
Regenerate your soul. Yes. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And even though you don't, when school starts and you may not have as much time as you do now in what you're doing, it's still a part of you. Now that you just don't go back to not knowing. Even if you're in school, you will have moments where you just look out and acknowledge and remember and embrace so that you can get that regenerating your soul type of experience. And that is exactly what it does. Something about nature just really just delights your soul. It refreshes it, it regenerates it. It changes it. Like when I did the series on water, I shared a story how I wanted to control my circumstances. I wanted to control my outcome. I felt I was losing control. My relationship with my partner, we were arguing, we was conflicting, wasn't getting along, and I wanted him to do things that would make me happy, and he wasn't listening, and it was just, I felt chaotic, and I was losing control because nothing I did was working. And then when I went to the beach and I saw the wave and the water, and then I got fearful and I said, woof, you know, the water itself was just overwhelming. If when I go into the water, I wouldn't have control. And then I started asking myself, well, how would I live my life if I didn't have control? And I felt peace. I felt the sense of peace. And I will always remember that moment. So just reflecting on the ocean and the waves, it just reminded me it's okay to not be in control. Just let it be, let it be. And they released a heavy burden. And nature does that to you. It really, truly does. And it's just remarkable. So thank you for sharing, Susan. Thank you. Tracy, good morning. I'm calling on you. Are you in the shower?
Good morning. No, actually, I got up a little earlier today because we're preparing for our back to school event. So my mind, I thought about, I got up early and my mind started racing. I remember Sherry speaking about this last week about my to-do list. I'm gonna get up early, separate a lot of the stuff because we're not having our own event, but we're donating to other organizations that are. So I'm just gonna
Okay.
have a living room full of boxes of school supply stuff. So I'm separating. And I said, and I just paused for a second and thought about what Sherry said and just listen to the birds. Like the clock, this right now the sky was clear on my side of the house, but just to listen to the birds and just to embrace the nature of God's creation around me, you know. So yeah, I've been up for quite a while. I took a break to be on Zoom and to be able to listen and get a little bit of work done. But you know, it's just amazing how the beauty of nature, the sound of nature, the sight of nature can just it can just take us to a whole nother space and time in our mind and in our feeling, and how it just brings about the soothing that we're looking for, even when we're not looking for it. You know, we could be just going about our day and then just stop and look at the sky and see a beautiful cloud or see a rainbow or just see the sun, how it reflects off of something else. And it's just like, wow, God, all of this you made, you did all of this and created me and give me life every day and provide and cover me every day, you know. And it's just like amazing. Like I woke up to a dream where I don't know where this dream came from, but I was going to the doctor yesterday. And so the dream was I was going to the doctor and this truck was just out of control and it was speeding up the exit ramp, and I guess it couldn't stop. And I happened to be changing lanes. I saw it and I was able to get out of the way, but it hit my rear end and ran me into the fence or whatever by it. But the people that were ahead of me, it plowed over them. And I was like, my God, my God. And I was able to call 911. I mean, I was hurt. I was able to call for help. They were able to, you know, come and assist everybody that was there. But I was like, before they were getting me out of the car. This is all in my dream. They were getting me out of the car. And I said, you got to get, I said, look in the console. You got to get my holy oil, my anointed holy oil. It's in the console. You got to get, it's like, ma'am, I can't. No, you have to get it because I was the first car. I could have been crushed. And to know that God kept me in a situation, you have to get everything I'm asking you for. I need my wallet, I need my phone, but you have to get my holy oil. You have to put it's a bag in the bag, put it in, please. And I'm begging the paramedic. I'm like, he's like, okay, I got it, everything I asked for. And I was just laying there thinking, I was like, my God, the favor that we receive every day without even knowing what is out there against us, how we're under attack, how we're under under all these approaches by the enemy in our thinking and in our speaking and our behavior, how we let things get on our nerves and then it's under our skin for hours at a time. But there is so much peace because God is bringing that. And that was what I woke up to this morning. And I was just like, do I go back to sleep? Let me just get up.
Who could go back to sleep after that dream?
You know, I was just like, my God. And then when I was able to visually, like clearly see the destruction, the truck ran over like maybe 7 or 8 cars. They're squished. People are hurt. People didn't make it. It ran into a building that was like after turn, exit M1 Old Country Road. So that turn, and he ran into a building. There was an explosion. And I was the only person that got hit as far as the cars that survived. And I was like, my God, the purpose that God has for our lives, that we don't even begin to know the magnitude of where he is taking us. And I've been praying because I'm like, God, I know you tell me to do things, tell me I'm going to be able to do this at the third, but I don't know how I can do it. And just going to an appointment one day last week, and then I'm going to stop. You know, God was like, why do you think that you're not capable of doing what I say that you can do? Why do you feel like you're not able to do what I'm telling you that you will do? He said, I didn't create you to be less than. I didn't create you to not be prepared, to not be equipped. You're capable of doing these things. And until you start believing in them, they're not going to manifest themselves. And in that instant, I just like, you know what, God, I am capable of doing, I can do this. I can do, and my whole aura and my whole thought process just changed. And I just felt like this huge boulder that's been weighing on my shoulders mentally and emotionally and physically is just like gone. And, you know, God just has a way of just coming in and just cleaning house and putting you in a whole different perspective. And I just share all that to say that, you know, whatever situations we may be going through, we know that God is a way maker, even when we think there is no way out. And I'm just grateful for how he speaks to us and how he invests his time with us to help us to grow how he needs us to grow.
Yes, yes. Wow, Tracy, that was a handful. That dream was heavy. It was lots and lots of message behind that dream, and I'm glad that you were able to discern some of it and even just been awakened by a lot of the messages that you heard God tell you. You're not less than. I made you. So just this, that was just powerful. And I know that many of us who's here today or listening, or watching, you know, proclaim what God has said to you. And it hurts because the words that we hear from those that have hurt us is what we believe in. We sit and we hold on to those words like you would never amount to anything, or you're just not qualified enough. Whatever negative words that you have heard in your upbringing and or others, you know, who are you listening to? And sometimes God just is like, I really need you to get this. And then it just appears in a dream. Or even in the dream, just shows how rooted our fears are. And we can see it. And it inspires us because it also shows God's victory. So everything that everyone is saying here so far is just so fruitful, so beautiful, so transformational. I'm blessed and I'm at awe with the insights that you have. Thank you, Tracy, and I send my blessings in this project of the back to school. Even though I don't want to hear back to school, it's not even on yet. You're killing me, man. You're killing me. Oh man. Woo. Kelsey, how has these the series of Spiritual Wellness Wednesday have been changing you, like the subtleness of clouds?
How should I put this? For what I'm looking right now, this morning, I'm looking at the clouds right now, and I can see, like, even in the sunrise, it really brings up my day, and I don't really want to, I'm trying my best not to think of the future or what sort of events would come, but just by looking at the sky, it just, like, wanted to show me something cool about it. Like, it wants to show me some rain. It wants to show me the colors of the clouds. It wants to show me some snow. and it wants to show me its shapes. So the more I look at it, the more calmer I can really get, thanks to God's creation. And living outside, it's just perfect. And so yeah, that's what I can say.
And even it's how you're saying it, Kelsey, that it just has so much love and appreciation and gratitude and settling it's comforting. I love it all. It's how it's moving you, and words can describe the magnitude of God and his creation. So I just want to take a moment of pause to just allow our souls to be filled with gratitude. Just appreciation for what we do have. Thank you, Lord. We lift up our hands to you and our hearts to just thank you for believing in us when we do not believe in ourselves, for creating all the things to help us in our journey, and not forgetting about us, even if when we neglect ourselves. We want to take this time here, Father, to acknowledge you, the Creator. We don't know how it was done, but you made a way. Forgive us, Lord, for our shortcomings and our fears, and then listening to negative words more than listening to you. But when we look at your creation, it reminds us of this peace that we should have in us. And that peace is what's going to just detect our day, make things happen, or embrace the life that you've given us today. Each day is a gift. And today we are receiving this gift with gratitude. Remind us, Lord, to look up when we are weary and distressed. When we feel pain, discouragement, disappointment, fear. And through the lens of nature, Lord, give us confidence, peace, and joy. Let us be guided, Lord, through nature, and help us be aware of your messages. In Jesus' name, we say thank you. Sylvia,
Yes, hi.
hi. If you can share how this spirit, the
Okay.
series of creation has changed you.
I've been in and out, but I also can identify with just appreciating every aspect of nature so much more. And believe it or not, me and the kids were talking about clouds yesterday, and we're like, look, this one looks like a bunny, this one looks like something. We were saying it, I'm like, yeah, it kind of looks like, and then it starts to take another shape. And back in the day when I used to take care of my little nephew more, we used to watch this lady who does sign language, and she would also sing because her two kids were deaf, and then she would say, lightning is the sound that lightning makes. But I was like, clouds, they like they seem as if they hold water, and then it just like comes all down. And then yesterday, like all of the days of the rain, I was like, oh, they need it, because I forgot to water the rain the flowers. I'm like, oh, thank God. I said, thank God it's raining, because I forgot to water these beautiful roses in the front that I sent you pictures of. I was like, oh good, oh yes, we needed it. Now the flowers won't die, because I forgot to do it. But overall, I've always like pretty much enjoyed nature, but this just gave me an even greater appreciation of how everything works together, and how like I said, God is in control. He got the flowers and the birds and the everything else, because I forgot the other day. And I'm trying to make these beautiful roses come back, but I know if it was up to me, they wouldn't be able to come back. But God is good. So
Thanks for your confession.
I know, yeah, my goodness, they're so beautiful. And then if it was up to me, I wouldn't. I don't know, but thank you.
It's funny. Thank you for sharing. Saria. It's funny how you said that, and it just convicts all of us to show like we were created. Man was created to look out for these things here on earth. It is our duty, our job to care for our environment, to care for the things that God created here, and including ourselves. So that just shows like God gave us responsibilities, and he reminds us that is needed, but yet he has a backup plan. He's like, fine, if you're not doing it, I'm still gonna have to get it done, until you're back on that boat. So there's a lot of things we are responsible for. And God is so patient. Now I understand what that means. God is so patient, because as we're bounded by our grief and sadness sometimes, and we don't move, and we neglect everything in our lives just because we're not feeling well, he just still is like, okay, I have your back. I'm still gonna do it until you're back on this duty list. So and get with it. And when you do, you feel your best. You feel good. You feel like, hey, I'm living my purpose, because I'm doing what I was made to do. And when we're not doing what we were made to do, there's a gap in our emotions. There's a gap in our spirit. So it's interesting, Sylvia, when you said that, and it, we find it humorous, but there's a conviction in that. It is our job to take care of ourselves, others, the things that God has given us. But even if we don't, he's still going to take care of it. That's deep.
Yeah. I used to get really I still get pretty upset when I think about the trees, and when I look at my neighborhood, and I'm like, the trees, they were so beautiful. It was so full of trees. Now it's so many buildings, and I'm like, we need trees to breathe. We actually need them to breathe. And I think overall we should think sometimes like overall as a unity as a world, but Now I'm not the only one in control of it. Some others don't think trees are important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Which leads to our next month's series on trees. You just
Oh
spilled the
my
secret.
goodness, I guessed it. What?
Yeah, you guessed it. So amazing, amazing knowledge, wisdom, insights. I want to leave us with this scripture um, for this series on clouds. Hebrews 12:1. Hebrews 12, verse 1. And it says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything. I love this. Ready? Buckle down. Let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. It goes back to the point Sylvia was making. Like, even if she forgot to water her flowers, God is showing us how to persevere, how to still do what is needed. Other than that, if He gave up, it's over for us. That's a heavy responsibility. Sometimes I would cry like, why do I have to be the bigger person? Why do I have to be the one? Why do I have to? And I don't want to take responsibility. Why do I have to get up and just continue to water these plants? Why is like this thing like we get and just, and here it says, don't give up. Don't give up. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, wow, everything around us is God's witnesses. The clouds doesn't give up in giving us rain when we need it. The sun doesn't give up in shining its beautiful light and give us heat when needed. The flowers keeps blooming, whether we plant it or not. It's just, it travels and it just grows somewhere else, and it gives food, air to the insects and animals, and it just keeps going. And it is our duty to take care of everything that God gave us, whether it's dreams, visions, family, ourselves, more importantly. Because if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of everyone else. It's just not going to work. You're not really doing it out of love. You're doing it because you lack love. There's a difference. So we are surrounded by clouds of witnesses. God is screaming at us every single minute. And then it advises us, let us throw off everything that hinders. It didn't say let us throw off some things that hinders. It says everything. So if you identify the things that is hindering you from doing the things that God gave you responsibilities for, He says throw it out. Throw it out. And the sin that so easily entangles. Sin can be as easily as ignoring, neglecting, rejecting, questioning. And then last, He says, and let us, not just it says us, this is a team effort. Run with perseverance. Perseverance means that even if it's hard, like Susan mentioned about the weather changes, that when it's the weather, it resembles life. It just keeps changing. Sometimes it's raining, then the storm comes, and the sun comes, and the rain, and the other day it was hailing, like it was ice, and it was 90 degrees outside. Like, this is bizarre. Like, where does hail come from in the summer? So even if these things keep taking you off track and it's just a bizarre weather, keep moving, keep living, keep doing what you're supposed to do in regards to all of that. Keep persevering the race that marks out for us. Keep pushing through, because if you don't, you may not see exactly what God has for you. You won't know unless you continue. And that's what the clouds of witnesses are there. It shows us they're doing their thing. They don't stop. I don't even think they argue with God. I know I do. I argue with God all the time. So I leave this message with you. I am filled with everything that everyone said of how nature has already been changing you. So I'm encouraging you today to take this Spiritual Wellness Wednesday day to celebrate those changes that is happening inside of you. Whatever that looks like for you, celebrate. Enjoy it. I know you may have a whole to-do list. Do it, get it out the way, and spend either the evening or the rest of this morning, anything you can do with God to celebrate the sudden changes in you, and pray over perseverance to finish the race. And throw away everything that hinders and the sin that entangles the plans that God has for you. So I'm sending you my blessings, my love, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy your day, ladies.
Thank
Everybody.
you.
Have a great day.
You as
Two.
well. Thank you.